Welcome. Today we're going to talk about invasive species. To invade means you've overtaken someplace. This is just right on the edge, just off the viewing platform of the Bear River Migratory Bird Refuge. And yeah, we've got a real problem that we constantly battle with plants that are here that don't belong here. They're beautiful plants, they just don't belong here. And they choke out the desirable habitat and make it harder for the plants we need to survive in here. If you look right down in here, you see the cattails. Well, they belong here. They're native, the animals use them for many, many different purposes. But if you look carefully, right next to my desirable cattails, I've got a less than desirable invasive plant species, which is a huge problem out here. This thing is beautiful. It's called Phragmites, but it doesn't belong here. There are native Phragmites, but mostly what we have out here choking out our habitat is invasive Phragmites. We try many things. We work closely with professionals at Utah State University and trying to bring this plant under control. It'll always be a fight, kind of like getting dandelions out of my lawn. But we cannot just give up, because it will make the habitat less desirable for the birds that migrate through. So one of the invasive plants we have here is Phragmites. This one right here, kind of spindly looking. It doesn't belong here either. Some people call it salt cedar. And it doesn't belong here. It was brought in many years ago, and it has invaded and chokes out. It's a huge problem along the Colorado River in southern Utah, as well as other places in the west. This tree here, you may know, I don't know. It's common. You see it in a lot of yards, planted on purpose. It's called Russian olive, and it doesn't belong here either. It's an invasive plant, and it becomes a huge problem in these environments because it doesn't belong here again. In addition to invasive plants, and that's not an exhaustive list by any means, we also have invasive animals that do not belong in here. For instance, in our wetland out here, in an earlier video I talked about nesting and animals that nest along the water, and especially nest on the shore in the grasses. One of our biggest predators of nests and taking eggs right off those nests are cats, feral cats. Maybe those cats wandered away on their own, but more than likely they were brought out here and turned loose. I don't know if you can see, there's a great blue heron flying just over there. So gorgeous. Great blue herons are fun because they tuck their big long necks in and have their big long legs dangling out behind. They're fun that way. Oh, there goes another one right there. Hopefully you can see that because they're magnificent. So anyway, we've got the problem with plants out here, and then we have problems with animals. Feral cats eating eggs right off the nest, whether they escaped on their own or whether they were helped along by somebody getting tired of it and turning it loose out here where it could eat the mice. And yeah, it will eat mice, but it'll also eat eggs right off our nests, which is problematic. We also have some other invasive animal species out here. We've got bullfrogs, don't belong here. There are frogs that belong here, but not the bullfrog. And the bullfrog is problematic because it will eat not only minnows, but it'll eat tadpoles, anything like that. and makes it so much harder for other species to survive out here. In the water, frequently you'll see huge schools of carp. They don't belong in here either. So the carp don't belong in here. They're an invasive species. Bullfrog is an invasive species. I don't know if you can see all the minnows swimming down in there. And another one that was surprising to me, I was down the trail not too far from where I'm standing right now one day, and I looked down in the water, and there on the bottom of the pond swimming around was a painted turtle. Somebody bought a painted turtle for their child and then decided it was too much trouble, so they thought, oh, I'll just take it down to the refuge and turn it loose and it'll have a happy life. Well, it doesn't belong here. Don't do that. Fortunately, it's only one turtle, so I won't have more and more turtles. There's a dragonfly right there. I don't know if you can see that as well. So we do have problems at this refuge and other places with plants as well as animals that do not belong here. Sometimes we think, well, I didn't do that. Well, somebody did. And even something as simple as turning a cat loose because you don't want it around the house anymore becomes problematic. So, invasive species. Thank you for attending my class today.